Today's episode, it's all about certifications or experience. So stay tuned. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and that notification bell. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's for a career change or you're just interested. I think you come to the right place. If you're familiar with my story, then you know that certifications will always have that special place in my heart. It was the CCNA certification that started my IT career. So during my career, I've been CCNA certified twice. Once when I graduated back in 2008, and then unfortunately, that certification was about to expire by the time I got my first role in operations. And then I got CCNA certified again a couple of years ago, back when I got into the networking realm. So the knowledge I obtained from my CCNA, in my eyes, it's what eventually led me to getting my IT experience. So it's what made me stand out on my resume to my former employer. It's what made them call me in for an interview. And then once I got in on the interview, I was able to answer a lot of the technical questions. Eventually, it's what ended up getting me the job role. So today, we're going to look at one of the greatest debates in IT history, certifications or experience. Which one do you think is more valuable? And also, watch till the end because for this episode, I tapped into my listeners to see their thoughts on this topic. So if you may not know what an IT certification is, it's similar to any other industry that has certifications. So in the automotive industry, a lot of times you have the automotive mechanics, they go and get certified to work on certain types of cars. So you got automotive mechanics that get certified to work on a Lexus. You got automotive mechanics that get certified to work on Teslas. So this certification is what proves they have specific knowledge for that particular vehicle. Now let's translate that to IT. So in IT, we have certifications that proves that we have specific knowledge in certain technologies. So you hear me talk about the CCNA all the time. The CCNA, like I said, is one of the networking certifications. A lot of times it's the first certification for a lot of networking professionals. A lot of times it's the first certification for a lot of other IT professionals that may end up not in the networking field. But this CCNA certification, what it did was it validated my knowledge of networking. So when someone sees that I was certified for this certain technology, they know that, okay, he should at least know the networking aspect. And then when you take that networking aspect, like I always say, the networking aspect boils over into a lot of other different realms within IT. So certifications, they're pretty much equivalent to any other industry with certification. It proves that you're specific to that specialization or to that technology. And then we think about experience. So experience, we all know what experience is. So experience, that's that real world, being out there in the world, learning on the job, working in the job, having those years of experience on the job. Like I said, that experience is invaluable also. And to me, I think each one of them have their place. So the first thing we're going to explore is, when would a certification provide more value to you? So the first thing that comes to my mind is, a lot of times the certification provides value when you're looking for those entry-level job roles. So, or your first job role. So if you're straight out of school, you're straight out of graduation, or you've been doing self-studying, you want something to make you stand out from the competition. And then if you're in a small area, you may stand out like a sore thumb because there may not be other many people with the certification you go get. So the certification, I think, is valuable when you're going for that entry-level job role. So it helps you stand out when you're applying for different jobs, because you think about it. If you're in a school of 2,000 people that's graduating for information technology, of those 2,000 people, how many of them may have a certification? So that's where I think the value comes in at. So you coming out with a degree, which every 2,000 graduates may have, and then you go for that extra mile of that certification, and I think that's going to make you stand out a little bit more, especially when you're looking for those entry-level job roles, because a lot of times the employers may see that you have this certification, but even though you're applying for an entry-level job role, a lot of times they may see that, oh, he has this networking certification, but he doesn't have any experience, so let me call him in and see what he know. And then they may call you in and then decide, oh, You may not be ready for that networking role yet, but we do have this help desk role where we're going to start you out at. So then you agree to that. You start out at that help desk role. And then maybe after that, a couple of months, couple of years, I've seen it happen in a couple of days. But after that, you start to get some experience. You start getting knowledge of how an enterprise environment operates. And then sooner or later, before you know it, a networking opening comes up. Then you say, okay, I'm going to apply for this networking role again. And then that time you may end up getting that role. So it all stemmed from you applying for those entry-level jobs and happening to get your foot in the door with that certification. And even though you have a degree too, don't get me wrong, that degree holds its ground also. But I'm just saying something that's going to help you stand out from others that has that same degree. So the entry-level job role or looking for your first job role, I think is real valuable to have some sort of certification just to make you stand out from the pack. So the next situation where certification could provide you some value is when you start looking into these specialized roles. So certifications, they're going to validate your skill set. And then you start saying, okay, I want to pivot down from help desk. I want to start going down the networking path. This way you may go out and get that CCNA. You may go out once you get that CCNA, you get some experience, you may start getting the CCNP. So this is where you want to start to specialize. And then you think about the cloud. So let's say you're doing traditional networking, but you want to transition to a cloud position, maybe AWS or maybe Azure or something like that. Then a lot of times these cloud providers got certifications that go along with these roles that's out here. So you go along, you get this certification. And now when you start applying to different job roles for that particular certification you got, when people see that you got the certification that they're looking for, so which proves that was validates you should have some knowledge of that, of whatever technology that is. And then they add that along with the experience that you may already have. Let's say you got 3, 4, 5 years experience. So that's just the icing on the cake. So another time where certifications could provide you some value is when you're looking to specialize. That situation when a certification could provide you value is when you're looking to change careers. So when you're going from one industry into another industry. So if you're coming from the sales world, retail sales, and you want to transition into tech, a lot of times we start going after those certifications. So you look at, okay, what's a certification that could maybe get me in the door? Or what's a certification that could validate that I know what I'm talking about? Or what's a certification I want to get into networking? What's a certification I want to get into security? So a lot of times we start to go after those certifications. So we may be coming from a different background. We learn these certifications, we get the certification. And then once you get the certification, the train don't stop there. So after you get the certification, yeah, you celebrate that you got that certification, but the buck don't stop there. You got to keep pushing. So once you get the certification, then when you end up getting an interview and you celebrate where you do a little celebration, whenever you get that interview and the technical questions they ask you that pertains to that certification, you're able to knock them out the park. You're able to hit home runs. So that's when you know that, okay, I actually learned this certification that I went and got, so that I self-studied for, or maybe I took a course on or something like that. So when you're changing careers, a lot of times these certifications is going to provide you some value just because it's going to help you to make that transition when maybe you don't have the time to go back and get a degree. A degree is cool if you can do that, but let's say you just want to get the certification and try to jump into the field. A lot of times changing careers, it helps out when you have that certification that goes along with that industry or that certain career field that you're trying to get into. Sorry to interrupt this video. According to my YouTube analytics, 84% of my viewers are not subscribed. If I provided any value to you in any one of my episodes and you're not subscribed, please consider doing so because it does help out the channel. And also, if you're listening to this in your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review and share this with a friend. Now back to the episode. So next we're going to look at when does that experience become more valuable to us? So the first thing that comes to mind when you're looking at these senior level roles. So once you get to the realm of you're a network engineer, a senior engineer, a server engineer, a senior server engineer, once you start getting that senior title on your role, a lot of times experience is going to be what got you there. I've yet to know anyone to come straight with no experience and come in and get a senior level role, or to come in as a engineer level role. So especially a senior level role. So you're going to need that experience in order to reach that. So the certification is going to get you to that point. And then also certification could be the point that gets you from that analyst to an engineer. But most of the time, by the time you do that, you're going to already have some years of experience. So once you get to that senior level and you start looking for these senior level roles, a lot of times you're going to need some experience. I would say at least probably about 4 to 5 years, at least, if not more than that. Some places I see some job recs where they're looking for 8 years experience for a senior level role, because this senior level role is one of the most important roles of that team, because this senior level role, pretty much they're going to be the person that's leading the team. So with that senior experience comes the ability to lead and manage projects. So that senior, whoever that senior engineer is, when all hell breaks loose, a lot of times your team is going to turn towards that senior to see if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat to fix that issue. So this senior level role come with great responsibility. So like I said, by the time you start getting to this role, you're going to need that experience. So you're going to need those years of experience, because at that senior level, some of the things you're going to get hit with, you may get hit with some things that ain't in the books. You may get hit with some things that the certification didn't cover. But your years of experience, you done experienced this same issue. And you know that, okay, when this happened before, this was the cost of it. So you know where to start looking. You know where to start poking around at. So like I said, with a senior level role, you're going to need that experience. So senior level roles, that's when that experience is going to trump that certification. So the next situation where experience is going to mean a little bit more than the certification. Now here, the certification means a little bit, but that experience is going to be way more valuable. And I would say that's when you're doing consulting. So when you're doing consulting, pretty much you're the go-to person. So having experience in what you're consulting in is going to go a long way. So the cert may be the icing on the cake that says, yeah, we got a consultant that's CCIE certified. Well, if they CCIE, they know this stuff anyway. Whereas might say, hey, we got this consultant that's certified in this and that and this. So when you're a consultant, you're the end all be all. So if you're consulting for something and you're consulting for a company, let's say you're the only person, you're consulting for that company, you're doing the support for them and everything. When things go haywire, you're the one they looking for to get that resolved, because they're paying you as the consultant. Usually most consultants, they specialize in whatever they're consulting in. You know, you might see a consultant that specializes in security. You know, they're the one that stands up this certain security product. That's all they do. They just deal with this one security product. They stand it up for different organizations. They implement it from the ground up, get it up and running, hand it off to the organization to manage, and then they on to the next site that they're doing the same thing again. So when you're consulting, like I said, that experience is going to go a long way. Of course, the certifications isn't going to hurt. I can't think of any time a certification may hurt you. But so that consulting, like I said, experience is going to go a little bit longer way than that certification, but that certification is the icing on the cake. And then another thing that experience will do for you that a certification really can't do for you that I can think of is that experience is going to give you that track record. So with this track record, that means that you got 10 years experience, and over those 10 years, you can list out all the different projects you had to do, all the different projects you implemented, all the things you've done at your previous organizations that you've done. So a lot of times with those projects, it's going to make you real valuable, because a lot of times you might be applying at an organization that's trying to implement one of those projects you done stood up in your 10 years of experience, or your 15 years of experience, or your 20 years of experience. So that experience is going to go a long way. It's going to give you that track record. As those years add up, you keep track of any important projects that you've done, and then that way you just add them to that resume. You add them to that resume. Pretty soon, you're going to be the Michael Jordan of whatever technology or whatever field you're in, because you're going to have this long track record, just like Jordan had this long track record of winning championships. You're going to have this long track record of championship projects. So you're going to have projects on there. So you're going to have plenty of projects that's going to prove that, oh, oh, you got a good track record. You done implemented this. Oh, this is what we're trying to do. So it's good to bring on somebody that already knows about a certain project or already knows about a certain technology. That way it makes it easier for us to implement. Like I said, certifications or experience, like I say, it's a very thin line. Each of them have their specific use cases. You know, the best of both worlds will be to have the certifications, and then as you go along, you gain the experience with those certifications. But I didn't just stop there with my thoughts. What I did is I went to the YouTube streets, and sorry, I didn't go to the IG streets. I didn't go to TikTok streets. I went to the YouTube streets, and, you know, I asked, what did people think was more valuable? So of the people I asked, I think it was roughly around 30 to 40 something people that responded. So I appreciate you for responding, taking your time out to vote. Of that, 28% of those folks said certifications is more valuable, and roughly 72% said experience. So like I said, experience is going to go the longer way, but those certifications have their pivotal moments that they're going to give you more value, especially when you're trying to get your foot in the door. So 28% said certifications, 72% said experience. I appreciate everyone for voting. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Hopefully you found some value in this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, you can follow me at DebtFreeInIT. If you have any questions, you can email me at debtfreeinit@gmail.com, or you can visit debtfreeinitwithmike.com. Other than that, I'll see y'all next week. Peace.